Hello, YouTube friends. Welcome to Speedpaint Thursday. I'm your host, Robin. In Speedpaint Thursday, we're going to see the process of my speed painting and I will explain the process to each of you guys. By the way, today we're going to paint Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan. The piece took about an hour and 45 minutes, so this is sped up 8 times. All right, so let's start. At the first time, I did the sketch. So I plan to make this very simple, just Aaron staring at the front in the audience. He's in the center, and I'm trying to make sure that the proportions are all correct, his hairstyle is correct, and stuff like that. Okay, afterwards, I did this trick. So I've clicked the magic wand outside of Aaron and then used Ctrl-Shift-I to invert the selection and then put a layer underneath him and then add a base color. That way, all the colors inside of Aaron will be filled. Afterwards, I just fill it in with peach and just begin shading. When I shade, I realize that there's a trick that some Instagram artists use, which is do really dark undertones. Like, here's do some really dark shading on the eyes, underneath the chin. It's a good idea to do that. So you'll see like in some examples, some artists put really dark shading on the eyes, right? It's pretty unnatural. Like the eyes don't usually do that, but because there's the sockets of the skull, they do those kinds of things. And there's a benefit to doing this, which is, so if you do that, there's going to be more contrast in your piece. You put the darker values in the beginning, and when you blend, you won't lose sense of those darker values. This is very important if, for example, you're a beginner artist or you're easily lost like me. I usually go after I just put the colors in. I don't usually touch the color palette until I really have to, so I keep on blending. So here, you see I added more black there, and then I tried to do the eyes based on like color picking. Oh yeah, when you draw these kinds of things, you should already know the planes of the face. That is why I suggest you reference the face, you learn the planes, so you can learn to shade as well. People who do these kinds of things, like if they don't sketch out the planes or stuff like that, usually they already studied it before. So don't try to go speed painting and expect that your first work will be as good as the greats and stuff like that. The greats have already learned a lot. They've learned structure. The more you learn, the more you're going to be able to do what they do. So as you can see, even I don't really know much of the structure at first. So yeah, I'm still learning here with you guys. And now, just doing some shading, added the eyebrows, added some darker shades just in case. See, I did all the coloring for now in one layer because it's much easier that way at first, right? I did the skin first because the skin is usually the most important part. So I filled in with the skin color and proceeded through that. Afterwards, this one I added a hair layer on top of it. And for the hair, don't put dark black, the darkest black first, unless you know what you're doing, because if you put the darkest black first, it's going to be hard for dark hairs. It's going to be hard to determine the shade. So it's better if you go a little light, then go a little bit dark, but not until full dark. You'll do the full dark more on, for example, the tips of the hair or really dark shades. There you can put the full dark, the full black. Now I'm just doing the shirt, Aaron's jacket, yeah. So I'm doing Aaron's jacket and then doing some basic shading on it. Okay. So most of the time, I'm just going to be refining. So don't expect too much changes at this rate. Oh yeah, and sometimes I pause. I think I was taking a break at the time and I didn't pause it or something like that. Oh yeah, now I'm going to try to talk about my brushes. So I only use 2 brushes so far when I speed paint. So one is a hexagonal brush. The hexagonal brush has like the hardness is 0.6. In the middle of 0 and 1, the hardness is 0.6. And if I want to go for blending, I change it to Krita's basic brush, but the mode is Gaussian, and I drag the hardness all the way to the left so it's super soft. Now it's still using the hexagon one, I think, yeah. And as you can see, I drew the eyes, but the eyes are not symmetrical at all. You can see that. So I'm rotating the canvas, flipping the canvas. I suggest if you want to flip the canvas, you should have a shortcut handy. In Krita, there is no official, no built-in shortcut to do a flip like this, so I did one myself. In my case, it's Ctrl-Shift-M because I'm left-handed, so I do Ctrl-Shift-M and it's very easy to do. Afterwards, here I just keep on shading and keep on refining, see? It's very important to flip your canvas because if you don't, you won't know the weirdness that you have in drawing the canvas. Now I'm drawing the titan marks. I hope it doesn't look too bad because I only use like 2 colors in the titan marks, and then I just blend it in a little bit. Sometimes you don't need too much colors, just use all that you need. So it'll look pretty realistic and pretty convincing. Okay, moving on. I think we're gonna get to the fun part in a bit. So this is me just refining the nose. I feel like the nose is not 3-dimensional enough, like it's flat, so I did more shading to the sides. Like you're contouring in makeup. I mean, if you girls, there are girls watching my video and they know makeup, I think they know what I'm talking about, like contouring and stuff like that. Just checking now. Now here's the fun part. Since in this piece I don't have like a dramatic sort of lighting, I put an overlay layer, right? And then I just lowered the opacity. Usually in my like more dramatic lighting works, my overlay layer is around 100%, and I just use the opacity, lower the opacity on my brushes to achieve a more dramatic effect. But in this case, there is no dramatic lighting, just subtle sunlight from the top. So I did yellow lighting on the face, on some areas too. And here I think we're going to have a color dodge here. So color dodge is how I use it is it's a more intense light than overlay. So I put overlay first, then for the color dodge I only put it in very specific parts. The less the better. So you put it on specific parts that you know are going to be very lit. This is an experiment sort of, so I did a multiply layer and erased it on the light parts where the overlay and the color dodge will hit, and I lowered the opacity. This is to make the lighting more dramatic. Afterwards I added this one, a screen. So I did a blue screen here. So, and then I deleted the parts where there's shadow. This is to make it like it's in skylight. Alright, afterwards I did some sort of experiment where I just add Eren Yeager on the back. I don't know I did that. That's just pretty dumb. So in the end I threw it all away. And so that's it. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!